Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you are not new. So today we are going to be talking about colons, single dashes, and double dashes and how they're used on the SAT. So I think, unfortunately, I don't really know what the reason is. The way that these pieces of punctuation are taught in school, it's either that they're taught in a very limited context, like typically when I ask a student what do you use a colon for, all that they know is lists, and that's only one of many functions that a colon is used for. Or they're just never taught at all. Like usually most of my students don't know what dashes do, whether in the single or double form. So today you are going to become a grammar nerd with me, and we are going to talk about these very, very critical forms of punctuation for the SAT writing and language section. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Woo! All right, so we are going to kick off this lesson by first talking about colons. So just so everybody's on the same page with what I'm talking about, when we say a colon, we mean the two dots that sit on top of each other like that. Basically like a snowman, but not like a snowman at all because this one would topple over. So let's talk about colon. So what is the purpose of a colon? Why do we use a colon? So the main function of a colon is to basically present or reveal information. Basically, you want to think of it like you're kind of like inching up to saying something. You're getting there, but you haven't yet said it. You use the colon, and then you finally, it's like the woo, like the grand reveal of what you're talking about. So let's look at a few examples. So it says, it was the best dish on the menu. And if you stop right there, you wouldn't know what you're talking about. So again, we use a colon as an opportunity to present what the best dish on the menu actually is. The second example, guys, I had to, I'm sorry. She was the coolest person ever. Well, obviously you would know who that is. It's obviously me, but you totally get the point. So you have to reveal or present who that is, Jackie. And then we can also use a colon for a list. You can present a single item, a list of items, 100 items, one item. It really makes no difference. I need to pick up some items from the grocery store. And if you didn't put the colon and then say everything after, you wouldn't know what they were. So again, we put the colon there as an opportunity to actually list out or enumerate what those items are that you need to get from the grocery store. All right. Second function of a colon is to provide an explanation or like the reasoning, the rationale behind the first part of the sentence. She couldn't make it to school. So that's the first part of the sentence. She couldn't make it to school. And then this colon basically functions in both of these situations. The colon is basically serving as a because. So she couldn't make it to school. Why? Let the colon be the because. She was sick. The student was quite happy. Why? Here's the colon. Here's the because. A big 99 sat on the top of his exam paper. Good job to this student, of course. All right, so providing an explanation is the second function. And the third is a colon is an opportunity to give statistical evidence to back up a claim that you've already made. So just to be clear, I wrote this here. I am not a doctor. I'm completely making up these statistics for your learning experience here. So don't quote me on any of this. So it says most individuals who eat a plant-heavy diet are in good health. So now we're actually going to present the statistical evidence in favor or in support of that claim. Only 5% are vitamin deficient and over 98% have excellent mobility as ranked by doctors. So we're actually providing the statistical evidence in support of that claim. Alrighty, so that was colons. Now let's talk about single dashes. So what do single dashes do? Single dashes, first and foremost, are an opportunity to specify something further about what you're talking about. So when we say it was quite cold outside, we use the single dash as an opportunity to specify just how cold it is, barely 15 degrees Fahrenheit. We also use a single dash as an opportunity to emphasize something. Seeing that the sun was shining, Jackie was happy, and then we use the dash to be like, really happy. So adding some extra emphasis into the claim that we're already making is another function of a single dash. Alrighty, so let's look at some actual SAT questions to see what's going on here. So let's begin with number 16. So for number 16, It says, but Jason Box, an associate professor of geology at Ohio State, believes that another factor added to the early thaw. Stop. So we know that another factor added to the early thaw, but we don't yet know what it is. So we're going to then want to put a colon here as an opportunity to present or reveal what this other factor is, which they end up saying is the dark snow problem. So we can see that choices C and D have the colon, which is what we want right here, but it's not being the dark snow problem that's the other factor. It's just the actual dark snow problem itself. So it's got to then be choice C that we're presenting or revealing. Checking out number 32, this is the list function of a colon that everybody I think is obsessed with, and that's all that they ever teach in school about colons. So it says, let's go in green. It says, over time, I've gotten to know several of my co-working colleagues. So we don't know exactly who these colleagues are yet. So we want to go ahead and use a colon as an opportunity to actually list out who they are. A website developer, graphic designer, freelance writer, and several mobile app coders. So the only choice that would appropriately present the list that follows would have to then be choice A for number 32. Alrighty, the next question we got here. So it says, it is not difficult to understand why a cash-strapped, understaffed publication might feel pressure to cut teams of investigative reporters. And then we can see in the next part of the sentence right here, this is actually the explanation or the reasoning for why that's true again. So we want to go ahead here and pick a colon because a colon is an opportunity to provide an explanation for why something is occurring. So this is the explanation or the reason for why they want to cut teams because the work is expensive and also takes a lot of time. So choice B is going to be correct here. All right, then let's check out question number 29. So it says champions of court reporting, though, argue the opposite, and then it proceeds to say what the opposite is, that with the increased reliance on technology, errors actually increase. All right, so we said that we can use a single dash, which we see in choice B, as an opportunity to specify what we're talking about. So we're basically specifying what we mean by the opposite, and then we're stating what that claim is right after. So I want to talk a little bit more about why choice B would be the best answer given what this particular question is asking. It says, which choice most effectively combines the sentences at the underlined portion? So of course you could say which is, their opinion is, they argue, or such. Like all of those would technically work, but they're asking for the most effective way to combine them. So the most effective way to combine them would be to use punctuation that does the specification for you, rather than actually using wording to indicate that you're about to start specifying what this opposite argument is. And then we have question number 14. So it says right before car use in, I don't know how to pronounce this, so car use in T has only slightly declined. And then in the next portion of the sentence, they proceed to provide the statistical evidence, the actual study that shows that car traffic was down less than 3% since this policy was enacted. So again, we said that a colon is the perfect piece of punctuation to use if we're going to follow what we just said up with some sort of statistical evidence. So we know then that choice B is the best answer here. All right, so now we understand what colons and single dashes do, but it's really important that we understand some of the grammatical rules that we need to follow when using either a colon or a single dash. So before you're allowed to use either a colon or a single dash, you need to have a full sentence before. So let me show you some examples in which it would be okay to use it versus it would not. So if you notice under this good column, it says it was my favorite part of summer break. That's a full sentence, so it's fine to go ahead then and use a colon to present what your favorite part is. But if you check in the bad column, it says the best part of summer break is, And that's not a complete sentence. So even though you might feel like you're presenting information, which you kind of are, you're still not grammatically permitted to use a colon in that situation because this is not a full sentence. So we can't do that. This would be okay. I need to go to the pharmacy to grab some stuff. That's fine. And then you can actually present what the stuff is that you need. But over here, you cannot say, I need to go to the pharmacy to grab, even though, again, it feels like you're presenting. This is not a full sentence, so you cannot use a colon here. And then in this example, she wanted to go to the store. There's no need for any punctuation, but you cannot say like she wanted and then use like a dash to specify because, again, she wanted is not a full sentence, so it would be inappropriate to use a single dash in that case. So let's look at some SAT questions that we might feel tempted to use a colon or a single dash on, but grammatically speaking, that would violate the rule that we just talked about. So we can see that this sentence right here, because consumers reap the nutritional benefits of Greek yogurt and support those who make and sell it. Well, first of all, this starts with because, so it's not a complete thought. So this is not a sentence, so we cannot pick the choice that has a colon. So it can't be choice D. And while we're here, let's just do the question anyways. It already says because, which is a cause and effect word. So we don't need to say therefore, and we don't need to say so. So the only choice remaining then would be choice B. Alrighty, looking then at number 26. If we look at choices B and C, we can see that they're putting a colon after such as, but if you read this, the spaces are usually stocked with standard office equipment such as. It's not a full sentence. You can't just say such as and stop. So because this is not a full sentence, we can't pick B or C. We can't use a colon after a non-full sentence. And if anyone is wondering, I could totally make a separate video on commas. The answer to this question is choice A, because in choice D, that's using double commas. Double commas say that you can cross the part out inside of them, which you can't just remove the word such as in this case. All right, and final question, number 27. We can see it says a recent study by two professors at the University of California, Santa Cruz, Chris Welmers and James Estes, suggests what? That's not a complete sentence, so we cannot go ahead and use a dash in this instance, so it can't be B. And in case anyone was wondering what the answer is, we usually, in like 99.9% of circumstances, don't put any punctuation before the word that, therefore making choice D correct. And our last topic for today's video is going to be double dashes. So we've already talked about single, but now let's introduce double. So we use two dashes to show that information in the sentence is non-essential, or what I like to call extra. So we could say, instead of non-essential, we could call it extra. So by extra information, what we mean is the sentence would still survive and make grammatical sense, even if the information that's inside of the double dashes were removed. So we're not saying that that information is not important or it is important. It has nothing to do with the significance of the information. All that it means is that the sentence would still function, grammatically speaking, as an English sentence without the stuff inside of the double dashes. So if you look right here, a great trick to see if you can put double dashes around something is to try reading around that part and see if the sentence works. My friend visited New York City for the first time last year. Makes sense. Although she does also love math, Jackie loves teaching grammar to students. Well, I think it's important that I, erase that and we can all look at this. The coolest SAT tutor ever. Am I right, guys? Show me some love in the comments, please. And let's look at this other example then. Josh pulled out his calculator. That makes sense without the stuff inside of the double commas. So let's then check out some examples from SAT exams. So it's really important when you're dealing with double comma questions to actually look in the sentence, because obviously you have to realize that there very well could be a dash that's already in the sentence and you're going to have to pair it up with another dash to make two dashes. So let's give this a shot. So I could see in this sentence there's already a dash right here. So I'm going to try out choice D, which puts another dash here after age. So let's try reading around this part right here. In addition to supervillains, the new soon-to-be iconic characters of the age had to cope with mundane real-life problems. That makes perfect sense without the stuff inside. So because we ended with a dash, we're going to start with a dash, choice D. And right here, we can see that there's a dash already in the sentence. So I'm going to try out choice C, which would be pairing it with another dash. And let's try reading around the information inside here. Loihi shrimp survive by using tiny shear-like claws to harvest rapidly growing bacterial filaments. That makes perfect sense without the information inside. So choice C has got to be our correct answer. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video and learned a lot, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and drop a really nice comment below to make me feel loved. And guys, remember, I run a TikTok page, Test Prep Tips. Definitely give me a follow on there. I post daily tips and tricks on that account and do a lot of lives as well. And our SAT Math workbook, No BS SAT Math, is in the description below, as is our upcoming crash course. Thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.